And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Chats. It's that show brought to you by the Keeg where we interview really cool people, professional people, talented people. Today, the people is illustrator slash writer Marcus Williams. Marcus, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man? It is great. It's really hot in Atlanta, Georgia right now, but I'm in an AC environment, so I'm okay. But
That
everything's good. Yeah.
I'm over here in California and it's pretty hot, but
Nice.
I feel like when I complain to other states, other states are like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
no,
It's just
no.
because a bad AC is pretty bad.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
You're out in
Yeah.
Georgia. Is it really? It's probably hot and humid.
So it's just unnecessary heat, man.
Yeah.
It's teetering at 96, 98, 100
Yeah.
for no reason. Like if there was a reason, if there was some sort of lava monster that was hanging out in our vicinity, if there was
Mhm.
any kind of comet in the sky, we're like, oh, that's why. It's clearly it's hot because of the comet.
Yeah.
But no, there's no good reason. You just walk outside and there's a laser pointing at your forehead. So
Yeah.
it's yeah,
AKA the sun.
you know,
Um I'm glad that I'm not there then, you know. That being said, it would be cool to interview you in person. Because right now
yeah,
we are doing a live stream on twitch.tv/the Keeg Show and youtube.com/the Keeg Show. And then for people who are listening to the podcast, it's wherever you get your podcasts from, all the major
right,
platforms. So maybe they can see us and maybe they can't. But if we were in person, we could do a little couch interview and mic
right,
things up and but
right.
we got the live stream. That's what we got.
Next time you fly me out somewhere
Wait, I
exotic. We
thought
can
you were
hit.
flying me out.
No. You guys got to set up. I don't want to mess up the tech stuff. Fly
Okay,
out to
okay.
some exotic island. I'm sure it'll work out.
That's what the Keeg
Yeah,
is missing is exotic
yeah,
island. Um,
absolutely.
for those of you out there who know me or don't know me, I'm your host Dimithri Perera. Obviously interviewing Marcus Williams. Marcus, I first heard about you, saw your work, I guess through the apps. Is
Yeah.
that a normal way for people to like come across your work?
I don't want to say normal, but I do
Okay.
post on social media.
Yeah.
So what would I guess qualify as normal? But I
Mhm.
also go to a lot of Comic Cons and live events where I'm in person, selling and stuff, and I meet random people that have never seen, heard, or they don't use social media,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So they do stumble upon me. So normal is relative, but mostly I'd say 9 times out of 10, most people come across my work because it's either been shared from social media to some group or what have you. And they're like, yo, this was my lock screen for 2 years. I didn't know you did this. I was like, yeah, that was me. Yeah. So social media is probably the most common.
What are people's lock screens that you hear about?
Oh, it's random. It's random.
Okay.
I do so much random work
Yeah.
though, because I'm a fan of just about everything sci-fi, comics, anime, video games, action movies, you name it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the plethora of character art or redesigns or you name it, any kind of art that I've done and posted, sometimes it's just a warm-up image that I did for a digital warm-up, right? And there's a ton of women that's like, oh my God, I had this as my lock screen. I didn't know you did that. I'm like, yeah, that was me. I
Yeah.
did that. So
So I mean, I was familiar with your work, and obviously there was work that I knew that was you. And
mhm,
then, and I was telling you before the show
yeah,
that I was looking through your work again,
yeah,
as I do, and I was like, that's right, you did the old Ninja Turtles
yeah,
art
yeah,
that I remember seeing.
yeah.
I've never seen a turtle with a beard. I'll
You
tell you that.
know, you've never seen a Ninja Turtle either. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah, that's true.
this is one of those comments that instantly came up. Well, turtles don't have facial hair. I was like, they
Yeah,
don't have human teeth. They
yeah,
also don't have human eyes. They can't do martial arts. They can't eat pizza the way you want them to. They don't stand upright. They're mutants, bro. Just let it go. Let it
yeah,
go. And they was like, well, how did you get the shirt on? I was like, their brother does technology stuff,
yeah.
man. You know, Donatello does machines. I'm sure he can do a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I had to draw a diagram for the comments. People were like, how did they get their shirts on? I was like, that's what you want to focus on? Cool. And I was there for it. I just sketched up a diagram. I'm like, it was some clips, some clever clips that
Mhm.
clipped onto the shell. It was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah,
I mean, Donatello's a smart guy, so
he
like he could
is.
do like hair transplant surgery
No,
or
no, no, they're
something.
mutants. They're
Okay,
totally
okay,
mutants.
cool. We
You
don't need that
know,
explanation for the beard. You're right. You're
they
right.
have fingernails.
Mm,
So I'm like, they don't have a lot of things that they should. There's a lot of things going on with the Ninja Turtles that shouldn't be happening.
yeah,
But no one's questioning fingernails or, you know, human teeth,
yeah.
all that wonderful grill they got. No one's worried about that.
No.
So yeah. There's I had that was one of the top, comments is like, it's weird to see him with facial hair. I was like,
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna focus on though, right? Nothing about the martial arts. No,
People are used to that. That's old hat, you know? Like they're like, we know the concept of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now you have bearded
yes.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, BMNT, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
are you a big fan of Ninja Turtles?
I'm a huge fan, man. I was there day one. I was a child of the 80s. So day one, when that cartoon showed up on TV, I was right there. I begged my mom for every version of those toys.
Mm,
When the movie Turtles came out, the movie toys were like rubber instead of that plastic.
yeah.
I begged it just all year long. I was like, Mom, please, Mom, look at the texture. It's a movie version. Look at it. She's like, fine. And I got Donatello and I got Michelangelo. No, Leonardo came later, but yes, I got three of those. And I was a huge fan. Still a huge fan. So the whole old ninjas concept was not a concept. It's just, if you look at the first post I did, it was Raph and an RIP. It had DMX, and in the description I wrote was just RIP DMX.
Right.
There was no story, there was no concept. It's just that one went viral, and people were like, "Where's the rest of the turtles? Where's the rest of the brothers?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, but I could draw that too."
Yeah.
And Leo, Mikey, and Donnie came, and the story happened in the post. So each post I did for each brother, I just wrote about 3 to 4 paragraphs,
Yeah.
explaining where they are, what's happened, and where they are, I guess, as brothers in their, I guess, late to their later years. I don't know how old turtles get, but yeah.
Uh,
But
aren't turtles about, or maybe tortoises live a long time?
they do live a long time, but
But
I didn't want
I
to.
don't know the
I didn't want to give
difference.
them a number. I didn't want
Yeah.
to give them like a specific. Oh, they're 55. I didn't want to say that.
Yeah.
It's just, listen. I had to grow up. It's been over 30, 40 years, so I'm like, let them grow up a little bit.
Okay.
You know,
Here's a question. You
yeah,
being a fan of Ninja Turtles, you being a fan of DBZ, right?
yeah, yeah.
How did that affect you being an illustrator, being a writer, being a creator?
Yeah. So the good thing about being a fan, and I've had a lot of people kind of challenge this over the years. So I do a lot of fan fictions, is what it's called. If you've never, for those of you who have never even heard of fan fictions, all it is a fan like me saying, you know what would I would love to see. If you take DBZ or you take Ninja Turtles for that matter, the old ninjas is a great example, but for Dragon Ball specifically, on a random day, I'm like, you know what would make sense? Popeye having a crossover event with Dragon Ball Z. That makes complete sense to me. And I'm like, oh, that would be dope. What do I draw
Mm-hmm.
to showcase this idea? And the frustrating thing for me as a writer and creator. So I'm a character designer. I'm a character designer by trade. That is what has kept me drawing from day one. I just didn't know that was a job as a
Yeah.
child, as a young artist. So I fell in love with every character I saw. So, Looney Tunes, Disney, every cartoon that came on, all of the video games, Sonic the
Mm.
Hedgehog, Mario, Street Fighter, all of those were character driven, IPs. So
Yeah.
I became fans of those things, but really as an artist, I'm like, how in the crap do I draw these characters? These are amazing characters. I'm trying to draw Ryu. I'm trying to draw Sonic. I'm trying to draw everything I saw. I couldn't because I sucked. A lot of people think I was like talented. I wasn't. There was no talent, none.
Yeah.
I frustrated myself to no end, but it didn't matter. I was just a fan of what I saw, so I kept pushing and trying to draw. no improper instruction. So you take something like Dragon Ball Z. When I finally got to actually follow that show, I was a young adult. I could draw at that time.
Yeah.
So I followed the show, loved the character. And when I got to this idea, this was a few years ago, and I said, okay, crossover event. I'm like, as a creative, I have to draw one snapshot. A lot of times, I have to pick a snapshot. I can do 7 images showing them fighting, but I'm like, it should be the aftermath of Popeye and Goku
Yeah.
after they finished a fight, and they would just be laughing it up because they're, pretty much similar characters. Popeye is, he's jovial,
Yeah.
as same as Goku. So both of them would probably give it all they got. Their clothes are exploded, their shirts are gone,
Of course.
and they're just having a good time, laughing it up.
Yeah.
So that did its thing. I posted it. I did a little, 3 to 4 paragraph write up, and I had about maybe 7 images altogether for that fan fiction. So Olive got featured in there, Bluto got featured in there, Vegeta, everybody got featured that of the core cast, and it was done. 2 years go by, and apparently whoever runs the Facebook page for DBZ, or for Toriyama, I should say, shared that image of Popeye and Goku. It went viral on Facebook, but no one tagged me, so I didn't know it went viral. Lo and behold, the people that own the rights to Popeye the Sailor Man saw that post and then shared it on Twitter.
Okay.
That went viral.
Yeah.
And they didn't tag me either because they didn't know me. Someone in the comments tagged me. And then, Alex, who was running the social media at the time, who posted the post, got in contact with me and said, hey, man, we love your version of Popeye. How would you like to do 10 pages of a Popeye comic? I'm like, hell yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Popeye. So that's how fan fiction connected to me getting a job working on a, Popeye comic. So that became reality.
Yeah.
I like Popeye. So
that's
the kind of stuff.
I heard that they were doing a new Popeye comic, and like, I grew up, how do I put this? I don't know whether like I grew up with Popeye. Like I remember Popeye, I watched Popeye. Sure. My dad loved Popeye.
Yes.
And my dad's like favorite quote would be, "I'll pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today," right? I'm gladly
man, that's
paying
Wimpy.
Tuesday for, and it's Wimpy, right? And like,
right.
But I remember watching the Robin Williams Popeye movie. You remember that?
Yeah, live action. Yeah.
Yeah, the live action Robin Williams Popeye movie, which people don't remember. It's
it was of the times. I remember it. I was right there for it, man. Again, these things were stuff I grew up with. So I was like, hey, he laughs like Popeye. That's fine. I accept it.
Yeah.
So I didn't fight it.
So you were a Popeye like fan back in the day?
Yeah. Hell yeah. That was our DBZ. Yeah. We didn't know what to compare it to because there was nothing else like that on TV.
Yeah.
But if you put it in comparison now, that was our fight cartoon. We didn't have anime at our fingertips, but we had, even in black and white, Popeye was a fight cartoon. That was our action fighting cartoon, similar to what is, DBZ, Naruto, I was about to say Yu Hakusho, but what's the new one now that's blowing up animation? You watch anime? I don't know if you watch anime.
I mean, a little bit, not enough to like.
Okay.
It's not my wheelhouse. American cartoons tend to be my personal thing, but I have mad respect for adult.
Yeah, American.
Well, here's the thing.
No, I'm joking.
I grew up on comics, sure.
Yeah, man.
I grew up on non-American comics, but not Japanese. I grew up on Tintin and Asterix. Yeah. And like that was like my dad's comics that he grew up.
That's what we had. We didn't have choices. We had turn the channel. If you had cable, maybe. Yeah. You can get to some other stuff, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Popeye coming back, when I heard that they were coming back, that Massive Publishing was doing it, I was stoked for it. And then I saw the name I Lie Popeye. And my brain couldn't wrap around, what does that mean? What does I Lie? I was like, High Lie? There's like is that the sport with the curved stick?
No.
Is that High Lie?
I don't know. I've never heard of High Lie before.
Okay.
But
There's a sport called High Lie, but that's not it.
No. Well, that's I gotta look. I gotta Google that now afterwards.
Yeah.
No. I Lie came from Alex Garcia is the guy that found me.
Mhm.
Like I said, from posting the art on Twitter. He was at King Features, and he was. We had multiple conversations. Once I said yes. We had this wonderful assortment of conversation over months, really, like over like 2 to 3 months, maybe more, and it was really just kind of boxing in because I was like, who's gonna write it? And they're like, well, we saw your fan fiction. We thought you could take a swing at writing. I'm like, hell yeah, I can write it. So in those conversations, though, I told them they needed to box me in. Don't give me the universe to write in. I'm like, give me something. What do you guys want to see? But ultimately they did give me enough room and flexibility to come up with some unique stories. But this specific title was, designed for the 10 pages. It
Mhm.
wasn't a full comic yet. It was like, you got 10 pages. Tell us a story in 10 pages. So I had to scrunch and truncate this micro story,
Mhm.
and I wanted to show action too because it's Popeye.
Yeah.
But the goal was anime feeling, action comic, but tell a story in 10 pages, and hopefully the people like it. So
Yeah.
I did, but I Lie was basically, how did Popeye lose his eye? Because oh gosh, it's his right eye. Who
Yeah.
in canon he doesn't have a right eye. So we don't know how that's happened. And the story goes, we're trying to get to the bottom of that. Everyone except Popeye gets to tell the truth because everyone else has their version of how he lost his eye.
Yeah.
And that's where I Lie Popeye comes from, which is everything you're hearing is probably a lie. And no one knows the truth of how Popeye lost his eye. So it's I
Yeah.
Lie Popeye. So yeah.
Uh,
And
um,
yeah.
I had the pleasure of reading the first issue, and I loved it.
Nice.
I don't
Nice.
want to
Thank you.
spoil it for anyone out there, but
Right.
it's
Right.
definitely an issue worth picking up.
Cool.
So for anyone out there who is trying to look for, their local comic shop, comicshoplocator.com is
Mhm.
one that I shout out. Find a comic shop near you. August, don't quote me on this, 14th, I believe, is when it drops in stores.
Nice.
And so I'm gonna be able to, I'm gonna pick up a physical copy when I
Yeah.
get the chance. But it was
Nice.
a really good book.
Very cool. Thank you. Glad to hear it, man.
Have you heard otherwise, or people saying,
I got so the weird thing is we did a limited printing.
yeah,
Once I finished, now again, we had the 10 pages, and after I finished the 10 pages, I got a green light to do 22 plus more pages.
mm,
So it became a full story that I got to expand on that story. And then we're like, well, let's do 5 books. So the story is now going to come across it's a short run, but no, we had free comic book day. They put
yeah,
out a free comic book day version, and all of them were gone. I wanted to get like two just to have,
yeah,
and I was like, I waited till the end of comic book day where I was in one shop. I'm like, hey, so you got any more of those? I like it. It was like, no, it's gone. I'm like, cool. All right. Well, I'm glad that's happened. And they're in everyone's hand. But someone found me at MomoCon that
mm,
happened a few weeks ago. And he came up, he had his free comic book issue, and
yeah,
he's like, dude, it was a fun issue. I loved it. Can't wait to see more. Because there's like at least a good, I want to say 10 plus more pages from the free comic book day that didn't
mm,
end up in that little version. So but yeah, so far so good, man. A lot of people are excited about it, and I'm excited to keep the party going because I got some really cool stuff, man. No spoilers, but there's things that have never been explained in the
yeah.
world of Popeye.
Which
Never.
is funny
Yeah.
because I would have assumed they would have had a story on how he lost his eye.
Right. Right. And the cool thing is, and both me and Alex agree off the top is, I feel it may be more funny if we don't really know exactly
Yeah,
how. We can get some close calls, we can get some things, but again, Popeye has not yet had a chance to give his side of it.
yeah,
Everyone else is just volunteer. Well, I know how he lost his eye, so that kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
We may have like a silent page where we get some sort of hint as to how he lost his pay. That hasn't happened yet, so it's
Yeah.
not a spoiler, but it could be. I don't want to really give the answer because
Mhm.
I think it's funner to not know.
Yeah.
You know?
Um,
Yeah.
Shout out to Pyra Ouroboros in our Twitch chat.
Cool.
Once again, we are live on Twitch and YouTube.
Yes.
Twitch is our main chat here. Pyra Ouroboros said, "I didn't know that there was so much to Popeye."
Oh yeah, man.
Do you hear that a
50?
lot? Do people just assume it's spinach
Well,
and that's it?
here's the thing. Here's something I didn't know, and I grew up watching Popeye.
Yeah.
So Popeye started in comic strips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is before the cartoon. There was no spinach in the comic strips, and I'm like, say what now? It's like, yeah, that was added for the cartoon, and I'm like, are you kidding me? That's like his staple thing. What do you mean? It was never in the comic. He was just strong as hell, so he was just busting people up and doing crazy stuff just off the rip.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought that was always. They were like, no spinach in the comics, so that didn't come in until the cartoon. And so, but there's all these. It's 50 plus years. Popeye is, I think, about to be 100. Want to say? I can't remember, but yeah, I think he's about to go into that wonderful, golden age state. But it's a lot of content. Just getting back and reading some of the stuff, like the Jeep. A lot of people don't know about the Jeep. He was introduced in the comic strip.
Yeah.
It was that little mongoose-looking creature that would pop in and out of, existence, right? As a fourth dimensional being. But all the way back in the comic strips, I saw him in the cartoon and I barely knew what the hell I was looking at. I was like, why is he teleporting all over the place?
Yeah.
I was a kid, so I had no idea. But going back and reading the issue in the comic strips about how the Jeep came into the lives of Popeye and Olive, it's actually not like, fluff. The writer actually knew about the theories of dimensional, all the different fourth dimension, this, that, and he breaks it down in the comics. I'm like, get the hell out of it. This is pretty interesting. I didn't think he was a scientist or was into sci-fi, but he was. So it was really cool.
I don't want to spoil anything because again, I was able to read the first issue, and like other people out there, maybe they read the free comic book day issue, and maybe they haven't. But after reading the issue, I met so many. I don't want to say so many characters, but there were characters in this issue. I was like, I don't remember them from Popeye. I don't, and I'm like. And obviously, they're your takes on them, so they're going to look a little different.
Yes.
But I had to go in and I did a Wikipedia deep dive on Popeye because, I knew a good amount of Popeye, but and I was surprised about that history, and it's something that it's really interesting for characters like him, characters like Superman, characters like Batman that have been around for decades, and not only change with the times, they also changed the times.
Yes.
So like. The fact that we call Jeeps are named after the character in this comic. In Popeye is what But like, I think that's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's weird how like pop culture can affect, art imitates life, life imitates art.
I still want to know how much spinach they sold during the years of Popeye syndication. I want to know if there was a spike back in the day, maybe when it was black and white, maybe like kids were deathly, grossed out by spinach. Maybe there was a spike. I don't know how long the spike lasted, but I'm curious because I don't know what happened to spinach.
There has to be. I mean, I could.
There's some data. There has to be.
If I had
an
assistant, off camera, where you like look it up.
Everyone's gonna have an AI assistant in less than 3 years.
I want a robot. I just want a good old classic robot.
I've been waiting for a long time, man. I'm like, this is taking too long, bro.
Yeah.
I need a Rosie. I need a Thundercat robot. What's that? It doesn't have to be huge. It'd be the size of my car, but I want that.
Yeah.
I think I can get like a license plate for that.
I want like a Bumblebee.
Yes.
A car / robot. That'd be cool.
Doesn't even have to do anything extra than let me in and out. And transform a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit. I'm fine with that.
There's a shout out to Mrs. Poot Potato out on Twitch asking, was he named Popeye before he lost an eye?
That's the thing. For Popeye wasn't in the series initially. It was about Olive. Popeye was a featured character. These are all the things I learned. I was like, get the crap
Olive
out of
was the
here.
first character?
Olive was the main character in the show. Popeye was a featured character that fans was like, yo, bring that Popeye character back. We like him. So anytime he would show up, that's when fans would be like, oh yeah, Popeye's back. He was not the main character of the strip. Olive was. And so I'm like, get out of here. Totally makes sense. But the way he spoke, the things he was doing, he was a fighter, stuff like that. He was a brawler. So yeah, fans resonated with Popeye as a featurette, like a support character. And it was like, yo, we like that guy. And so it became Popeye.
Yeah.
It was the main. Yeah, he was the main. He got the shine, and so
I didn't know
Olive
that.
was. Yeah, neither did I. I was like, what the crap? What? But apparently, Olive was like a gangster. Like she was thugging back then. Like she actually shot people in the comic strip a couple times, and it was pretty. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had some dark times in there.
Yeah.
But
do you equate her to Chi-Chi from DBZ? Is that who you like equate her to? Who do you equate Olive Oyl to?
I think if I had to take a guess, I think Olive was so Popeye is not an attractive, main hero. He, like Olive, was meant to actually resonate with normal folk. So if she's not supposed to be a bombshell, Popeye sees her as beautiful.
Yeah.
And Olive, for some odd reason, sees Popeye as attractive. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's like this very down to earth, thing. I think the writer and the creator understood once they got them together that dichotomy, especially during the times. All right, there was a lot of people just getting by, scraping by.
Yeah.
But I don't think Olive and Popeye were meant to actually, resonate with anybody else except normal people, man. Because there's attractive people in that cartoon, and Bluto was actually, fit and he had like a small waist at some point in the cartoons, and he was like actually jacked. Popeye was not. He was this tubular character with big forearms for some reason, but he was never like this attractive dude. What? As a fan, like coming up with the version I did, I was like, it doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna give him a 6-pack. I'm gonna give Popeye muscles.
Yeah.
Right. And I've had some pushback, not bad pushback. I had a lady who was like, I'm not supposed to be attracted to Popeye. I'm like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So
I mean,
but
Bluto too. Like Bluto's looking like the Juggernaut.
Right. And and I'm just like, no, it's okay. The update, and I think this is something I'm really careful with as a fan, and now that I have the opportunity to actually put tweaks to these characters. I did nudge Olive on the attractive. Here's the bar. Yeah. And I did like this. I just nudged her up a little bit.
She's a cute girl,
She still has long feet. She's still kind of long, lanky arms and stuff. But Popeye, Bluto, all of them, I just gave them a little bit of a tweak. But it doesn't feel like they're different characters.
Right.
I want them to feel like, and I care about that as a writer, and because I'm getting to direct this new feel. I don't want to change Popeye, Bluto, Olive. I hear them in my brain when I'm writing them. So none of that's changed. I want them to feel the same way they've always felt. And I think if you do that with, enough care for the fan base, because I'm a part of it, right? I don't want to throw away anything about Popeye. I just want to make it modern. And if I get to do that visually, it should just feel like a nudge. Like, Popeye is ridiculously strong before spinach. It's okay if he has a 6-pack. It makes sense. Maybe he doesn't flex all the time. But I got him with, like an A shirt on, and he gets to show his specs and so forth.
Yeah. Pyro Ouroboros on Twitch says, dude, Popeye can't have forearms like that without a 6-pack. I don't know about that. I don't agree with that, because like, you ever like see that uncle who just he can have a beer belly and huge forearms? I don't know whether you need, you have to have one and the other, but
right. I figured that that's a good statement. That's a good statement, because I tried to make sense of it. You know how they changed Spider-Man in the movie, where like they took him from having web shooters, the first Spider-Man movie, and they gave, he got bit, so genetically he has web glands now.
Yeah.
That's a creative change. It's not a bad one though. There was a lot of fans that were pissed off about
Yeah.
it. But I'm like, it kind of makes sense, bro. Makes sense. Why wouldn't
For an
his whole
adaptation,
genetic?
right?
You know what I mean?
It's an adaptation. It is what it is.
And a lot of fans were like, no, it's not a web shooter. It's wrong. And I'm like, but doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So this and what he's saying is true. Like, why the hell does Popeye have a forearm of that? Whatever he does for his job, and we've seen it. He's had a number of jobs. There's a black and white version of it where he's building a ship with Bluto.
Yeah.
And they're competing against each other. Popeye is literally punching, welding, screws into the ship.
Yeah.
And he's bending bars, he's bending metal. I'm like, dude, whatever this is before spinach.
Yeah.
Popeye is a freaking mutant. I don't care. But yeah, he's, they just never showed his six pack, I guess, just for animation reasons. So
yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool with giving him six pack.
You bring up Bluto and him having a competition. And so Bluto to me has always been antagonistic. And if I think about who the villain is for Popeye, it's Bluto, but you don't necessarily do that because he has other villains, right? I get it.
Oh yeah. I
think and correct me if I'm wrong. Did you mean to make it like a Goku Vegeta thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's going to be multiple head nods to that because I want them to cross over for real. I think we just have to make enough noise as fans, but I'm going to cleverly drop as many head nods as possible. Now, it's not going to necessarily have to be a blatant ripoff because Bluto and Popeye absolutely have been, against each other and compete with each other. Bluto likes Olive too, but probably just to take her away from Popeye. I don't even think he really likes her.
Really? Okay, yeah, like an ownership sort of.
Yeah, he's never really had any like goal. I've never seen an episode where he has goals to treat Olive well. He just wants what Popeye has. So usually it's to one up him, but that's exactly what Vegeta is to Goku. Once he met him and they fought, and he's like, dude, how in the crap are you stronger than me? And then forever it's been a race. Say, I'm gonna get stronger than you. You're stupid. I'm not. I'm better looking than you. Whatever, it's whatever you have to do. So that's the goal. Where I don't want to change that dichotomy one bit. They are not friends.
Yeah.
Bluto actually came in the thing, and I made him say it. He came there to fight Popeye that day, but now that there's a new contender, hey, let me get first dibs. Move, Popeye. Let me see what this guy is up.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to change that dichotomy at all. I want that. I think that's fans expect that. So it's going to have some cool things in there to kind of, they may have a little bit of an armistice here and there, but no, Bluto can't stand Popeye and vice versa.
Yeah. For anyone out there who is listening to the podcast, you can't see the pages that I'm doing, but I am showing the public preview pages for the comics. So people watching the live stream can kind of check out some of your work and your panels and whatnot. And like,
nice.
It is so good. Like people are gonna sleep on this and then kick themselves later for not picking this up. Again, I looked it up. It is August 14th in comic shops.
Cool.
And so for anyone out there who is looking to pick this up, pick it up. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm gonna go pretty hard. I think the team at Massive is doing a fantastic job, dude. If someone doesn't know that this is happening, I don't know how. I've done multiple interviews and I got multiple lined up, but I'm gonna really do a hard push. I want to do a little bit of marketing towards the world building, like why this is updated, why it feels this way, why it looks this way. So there's some world building that I want to kind of market along with the book. This is a new version. I don't like the word. I don't think it's a reboot. It's just a new version. Okay. So it's kind of a reskinning of it, but modern.
Yeah.
So, but it's still Popeye and Olive and Bluto and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're just not in the 50s.
Here's a question for you. And I mean, I do have questions from the audience and whatnot, but like question that I had for you is, how do you know what to change and what to skew versus what to just leave alone?
Yeah. That's a great question. And like I said, me and Alex and the team at King Features, before Massive came along, we had talks about this for months. And we had like conversations for hours, but nothing bad. Now they gave me a lot of great parameters to say, okay, here's the things that cannot change about Popeye.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we don't want changed. These things have to be in his character. I was like, perfect. I'm not changing any of that crap. That's who Popeye is to me. So no problem. Like I didn't come in like a wrecking ball, like I want Popeye to suddenly breakdance. None of that shit. So they did have parameters
Yeah.
at King Features, and I'm like, perfect. None of that bothers anything I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want Popeye to remain the same as Popeye. No one reading this should say that doesn't seem like Popeye would do that. I feel like if any fan reads this and says that doesn't seem like something Popeye would do, I failed as a fan and as a writer. Yeah. So none of that is my goal. The things that I'm taking the challenge with this project, and this is the exciting part now. It is the stuff, like I said, that has never been explained.
Yeah.
Because I had questions right off the bat. Sea Hag is a reoccurring villain in the Popeye universe. And I'm like, so how does magic work with the Sea Hag? What's the thing? How does magic work? They're like, however the writer wants it to. I'm like, good, I get to write a magic system. Perfect. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
Because no one has ever, the original creator has never defined this shit. So whoever was writing the cartoons, they never took time and said, here's how magic works.
Yeah.
So as a creative and as like a fan, these are the things I'm like, sweet. I'm not changing it because it never was defined.
Yeah.
But she uses magic. That's still her thing. But now I get to expound on that.
Yeah.
I asked this question. This is a real question. I said, so why does spinach do what it does to Popeye? Same thing. They're like, it just does. I'm like, got it. Good. And so I'm a huge fan of anime. And in the sense that I'm not just action and cool animation. And Japanese writers and directors and animation people, they do this thing where they can actually make any freaking thing interesting, but not because they're lazy or they're trying to fudge it. No, they nerd the hell out, and it could be anything, dude, anything. But they do it in such a way with such care and consideration for character development. So I want to explain why spinach does what it does to Popeye. But I'm going to nerd out a little bit, and it's still going to feel like it makes sense. I'm not just going to say because Popeye found magic spinach. I could, but I feel like that's a cop-out to the original writer. Like I said, he was a fan of sci-fi, and he knew about fourth dimensional stuff. Yeah. So I'm not going to slouch on coming up with a reason, but it's still going to be in this realm of making sense for Popeye. Popeye is like oblivious to this crap, by the way. He does not know.
He doesn't care, right?
He doesn't care.
Yeah. He's
never cared about it, but the people around him, I'm going to have them make sense of it for him. And he's like, oh, cool, I guess. So, I get to still fight, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So,
question. There's a character, and I'm not going to spoil anything. There's a character in this named Judy Patootie.
Yeah.
Is that an original character?
That is, yes.
Did you name Judy Patootie?
I did. I did. Yeah.
All right. I just like the name. I think it's a cute name.
It's
Judy Patootie reporter.
Yes.
So we did have a question from the audience. How do you like your spinach? Do you like spinach personally?
I do like spinach. Okay. I don't like mushy spinach.
Yeah.
There's different kinds out there. I am not a fan of the mushy, creamy spinach stuff.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that, man. But I got a texture thing. I like to chew stuff. I chew mashed potatoes.
Okay.
So I'm like.
So you like the chunks of mashed potato, like potato?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, like give me something to chew on. It's like when I lose all my teeth at like 90 something, I will then start to like creamy and mushy stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet. I got teeth. So I just got a texture thing. I like chewing some texture. So if the spinach is done well and I can still chew it, I'm happy. Yeah.
Here's a question I don't even know whether you can answer it about spinach and Popeye.
Okay.
You could say no comment. Um,
Cool.
does just leaves of spinach work for Popeye, or does it need to be in a can?
Mm, that's a great question. It's a great question. See, that's the kind of stuff that I get excited about because
Mm,
that's the nerd part of the fan base
yeah.
here, which is talking. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. No one's defined that.
Okay.
I get to define that for the first time in all of my fan history. I get to define that. That's super exciting for me.
Yeah.
Um, what I can do is give you a hint, which is to say, it doesn't have to be canned spinach.
Okay.
That's the best. That's the best hint and leak I can give you.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be canned. There's nothing special about canned spinach.
Okay.
So he's gonna get non-canned spinach
Okay.
throughout the story, and it'll work the same way.
Okay.
When I break down why it works, then we all can nerd out together and say, "Oh, that's why."
Okay.
That stuff.
Okay. Okay.
No
I'm cool. I'm
spoilers.
cool
No
with that.
spoilers.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm just reading this out. You don't have to answer this. Pyro
Yeah.
Ouroboros says, "Is it the power of spinach, or is it somehow empowered during the canning process?" I'm just reading this out. Mrs.
Yeah.
Poot Potato says, "Use Popeye 15 for 15% off spinach can order." We should have gotten a sponsor for this show. We should have gotten a spinach company
I
sponsoring this show, sponsoring
yeah.
the your world tour with
Yeah,
this.
man.
You know?
If we don't successfully get some sort of spinach sponsor, I will feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Because I don't just want, a coupon of discounted spinach. I want like a full on, where I'm
Mm.
endorsing it. Like, look at this, guys. You know,
There,
and also I want to get like a mushy can
yeah.
version where I can squeeze it. Like, look, guys, and squeeze this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I'm rifting, but if
Yeah.
I don't get some sort of endorsement deal and I'm rewriting and rebooting this or reskinning Popeye, I
Yeah.
feel like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never, when I was reading this comic, never did I feel like this wasn't Popeye. So credit to you
Cool.
on that,
Cool. That's the goal. That's the goal. But
Here's
now,
a,
well, let
yeah.
me let's put a pin in that
Yeah.
concept because another thing that hasn't been allowed to happen in all of his years is Popeye has not got the opportunity to grow as a character. Okay.
Mhm.
That's never happened. We have pigeonholed him into he gets beat up, he takes spinach, and he beats the other bully person up, and the end of the thing, that's the end.
Right.
And we've forever looped it. It's the same like it's Scooby-Doo. Like
Yeah.
they never figure out who the hell is making all these damn costumes and where they're getting their great content from. But that's been where Popeye has remained for
Yeah.
over 50 years.
Oh.
Granted, oddly enough, I was there for all of it. I was like, yeah, strong to the finish, bro. You ate a spinach. That's why you lost.
Yeah.
So, and I never complained. But now that I'm in the driving seat of, well, I want Popeye to grow. This is
Yeah.
again a head nod to Dragon Ball Z and the fantastic job that they do with character development. Popeye as a character, personality wise, can remain the same. Things that he's never dealt with, such as, uh, is spinach the only way he can get to this kind of power up? Is this his, what happens if he doesn't win after taking spinach? That's the question.
Yeah.
What happens then? And so now we get Popeye in this crisis. It's like, yo, that always works.
Yeah.
What the crap happened now? What do we do? So now Popeye gets this wonderful arc where he gets to grow. Olive has not got to grow as a character. Bluto, Wimpy, they've all remained the same for years. So where I'm at now in the creative seat is to say, I would love to see these characters get an opportunity to grow. So that's the fun part. That's where, as a fan, I'm like, ooh, what would happen if this was introduced? If this is
Yeah.
introduced, how do these characters look in the face of these changes? Can they remain the same personality wise,
Yeah.
but also it's okay for them to grow and have some real growth.
Do you
So,
feel?
go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Do you feel that? Can you feel the universe shifting a little bit? That perhaps this take on Popeye could affect the zeitgeist for the you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
do.
5
I do.
years from now, who's to say that they're not doing a live action
Yeah.
Popeye movie based off of this comic, this concept, everything that you've created
Yeah.
and built upon.
So again, we had three. At one point, I think we had like a 2+ hour conversation, me and Alex, and it's just where I would hope this goes. I want animation. I want a video game, and I'm
Yeah.
talking like high fidelity graphics, man. And I want all of it, man. I
Yeah.
want this to feel just like any other major anime character that's been popular in the past 20 years, honestly. Because Popeye deserves it. It just takes the right writing, it takes the right direction, and someone who cares about a character enough to say, listen, anything. The thing that is weird is I both laugh when I picture Popeye in any normal scenario. Popeye going to the grocery store is
Yeah.
funny to me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Popeye having a smartphone is hilarious to me
Yeah.
as a writer and a fan, because all you would have to do is introduce this new thing, and Popeye is Popeye. But he's also strong as hell, and he's you know I'm just so frustrated I can't get his laugh into the comic. That's one of the most frustrating things. I
Like
cannot
how
get
to
his
write it,
laugh.
like an
It's impossible.
onomatopoeia kind of thing.
It's impossible. I just had to write laugh.
Yeah.
I can't. I wish I could, but it would be like the Joker, and it wouldn't really
Yeah.
work. For people that have never heard Popeye laugh, it's like, I don't know if you watch One Piece, but if you get that villain, the laughs that the villains do in that show,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's impossible to
Yeah.
put that in print. So, but that's the kind of thing where, so if you then take the same stuff that makes me laugh, absolutely enamors me to say, well, what is Popeye like if he's actually broken?
Yeah.
Mentally, like spiritually, if he's actually defeated and he knows he's defeated. Not what we saw in the cartoon. He would get beat up, but then he'd just be like, spinach. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then he always knew there was a way to get out of it. So now that same excitement to see him in dumb, goofy situations, I'm like, oh, that's the golden stuff right there. So changing and shifting what fans understand about Popeye is my goal. I want to say, I want people to actually say, I never thought that I would read a Popeye comic and feel something.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I'm going for that. Now I'm not trying to do it in any kind of cheap way. Everything that I'm trying to put in is gonna be earned. But it's because fans have been watching this character for years. And so now something new for this character should feel like it's like, oh snap. I didn't know I was gonna get that kind of, depth from Popeye. But it's gonna be Popeye.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. But yeah, man, I want all of that stuff. I want full anime. If you want to do a live action, I don't care. Everything, everything. I want everything that you can get, because people are like, dude, I'm a Popeye fan again.
Yeah.
The way you're writing this makes me happy to be a Popeye fan, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be doing my job. I hate. It's a pet peeve. It's what happened with X-Men when they came out in 99, 2000,
2000.
the live action movie.
Yeah.
You had a director, Bryan Singer. He was like, I don't want anyone to read the comics.
Yeah.
We're going to take it in my direction. I'm like, that's a slap in the face of every fan that's been reading that book for 40 plus years, man. Like, that's not your job, man.
That was the era. That's the problem. Christopher Nolan did that with his movies, with his Batman movies, is that a lot of the directors were too good for comics.
Yeah.
And the audiences weren't accepting of comics. X-Men, like the fundamentals were, kind of there, but then they were like, we're ashamed to be a comic, right?
Oh, what'd you expect, yellow spandex? Yes.
Yeah.
The same as goddamn red and blue pajamas spandex for Spider-Man, damn it.
Well, Spider-Man at least Spider-Man had an actual costume, right?
Right. And as goofy as it should be, should be, it's accurate.
Yeah.
And it felt great to see it in live action. And he did Spider-Man stuff. So that's where I'm like, dude, that's not your job. And I still to this day, I never knew. I always knew I didn't like that guy. I've never met him.
Yeah.
But as history has proven, he's not the best people when it's come out.
No.
But that kind of stuff specifically you get the reins to something that is beloved by millions of people, fans,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
Throw out all that history. I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's a slap in the face. I'll never do that to anything. This is the first project where they've given me this much, control over a beloved and character of this long, history. But dude, I wouldn't dare. That's not my job. My job is to make something for the fans.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. So I
And you
want
can see
something
it.
that, I
see
want
it in
something that I would want to read and be like, oh yeah, this is great. But the things like you said, what are the things I want to change? It's just supposed to build the character.
Yeah.
In terms of who he has never got to be. And that shouldn't rub anybody the wrong way if it's done with care. So I want to see him grow and I want to see him enhance. I want to see him be more Popeye, but with new stimuli, more complex stories, things. And it's going to be goofy. It should be funny.
Yeah.
It should, there's comedy. And that's the thing, like I said, with Japanese writers, they do a hybrid model style. They do comedy. There's stuff that'll make you cry. There's love. There's high stakes action and all that cool stuff. All that's there. And that's what I want to try to, just reskin it to Popeye. That's all.
I got some quick questions for you. First question is this an ongoing or is this a limited series?
That's going to depend on every person who buys this book.
Okay.
I get a short run for this first 5 books.
Okay.
I'm building the world as it were to say I'm not writing it to end. I want it to be an ongoing, even if there is, sister books or spin-off books where the characters may get their own subsequent titles or things like that. I'm writing it to absolutely keep going. But the story I'm telling right now, it has, a start, middle, and end to what's going to happen in the 5 issues. But no, I want it to be, right now it's planned as a short run. But if you guys buy the crap out of it and it goes viral and then everyone loves it, there's no reason for a short run to not continue if the fans show that they like it. So
yeah. And there are variant covers, right, for each of these issues.
Yeah.
So you can do it like Pokemon and catch them all.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm not drawing all of those covers. There's other artists, very talented artists that are doing these alternate covers. I've seen a few of them. I love them. So I'm excited, man. The cool thing is it's weird to be excited. The way I create is a little different. And I feel like I'm close, and it's a huge compliment because I didn't know Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli. He's the lead creative director. He's quit like a few times, but he's come back. But the way he does his writing is not by script. He doesn't write the story. He literally does thumbnails of the gist of what's happening in the story. And then once he's finished with all these thumbnails, storyboards, he copies them all, gives them to a studio, and they all sit down and figure out what the story's about, like beat by beat, and then they script it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm more akin to that because it just drains, it slows stuff down. I know what's gonna happen, but I can just thumbnail it out and be like, here's what's gonna happen, dude. Look, this is happening here. And then scripting, I like to kind of feel it as I see the pages come out.
Yeah.
And then that excites me more as a writer. Right. So yeah.
Do you plan on putting yourself in the comic?
Oh, you know what? That's weird. No one's ever asked that.
I mean, that was one of our questions on Instagram at the Keeg Show.
That's the first time I've had that question asked. Yeah. I didn't have any plans to do that.
Yeah. Shout out to Nats Perera.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe. Let's go with a maybe. Okay. I'd have to find a good reason.
I mean, I could throw you a reason. Challenge Popeye to a fight.
Oh man, I'd have to lose. Really,
exactly.
really,
yeah.
really
you
hilariously
just get
though.
Into the moon,
I just have to lose hilariously.
You'd be a Mr. Satan,
Right. And then it'd have to be a reoccurring joke. It's just, I'm back. You may have won last time.
You made it back from the moon for to challenge him again because he keeps punching you further and further away.
No, it'd have to be even dumber than that. Like I would literally like like trip into his elbow and get knocked out. Like, ah, it's like, why is this dude always tripping around me? It'd have to be dumb.
Yeah.
It had to be like one section of the page it's one and done. And then if it happens again, it'd just be very, very small.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, maybe,
All right.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm just, um, um,
Yeah.
before we get going, I did want to touch really quickly on
Yeah.
Tuskegee Heirs,
Yeah.
which is a previous project, or is it currently? Is it an ongoing?
It's current.
It's
Current.
current.
I just need to pause time
Yeah.
and clone myself so I can work on all of them at the same time. Yes.
Just really quickly, what is the premise of Tuskegee Heirs, and what's your involvement with it, and how does that go?
Yeah, no, quickly, I'll do the elevator pitch. Tuskegee Heirs is a project that me and my co-creator and co-writer Greg Burnham, we created in 2015. It is a futuristic sci-fi action adventure that is placed in 2096. It follows 5 young pilots that are being trained by a descendant of the Tuskegee Airmen. But at the time that they're being trained, manned flight is illegal. Only drones and computerized aircraft are allowed. But their mentor, their master splinter, Colonel Mars, if you will, he feels something ominous is coming down the pipe. He's right. These giant robots start attacking every major city on the planet, and the kids end up getting these amazing jets that transform into giant robots. And that's where we start the story. However, they use the Tuskegee Airmen. They look up to the real Tuskegee Airmen pilots from World War II as mentors, everything from the way they supported one another, their work ethic, how they supported each other in the actual fight. That's who they look up to. So it's futuristic. We didn't change any history. And these are new pilots. They're not blood descendants. They are just inheriting the legacy, we like to say. So me and Greg, we co-write the story. I do the art for the book as well. So we self-publish, and it's been going on since 2016. So it's an ongoing series. It is a lot to do because again, we talked about hats before the before the show started. When I say that's like 6 jobs plus that I'm doing on Tuskegee
Years. You do too much. What do you know? You're doing way
I keep
too much.
saying that, but no one believes me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff to where when you're talking about hats, man, that's writing with my partner Greg. We co-write the story together. I'm sketching, inking, coloring, doing the word balloons, formatting the book for print, everything. So it's a lot of hats, but I love it, man. It's something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
This is not for any particular one audience. Everyone is allowed to love history, but specifically the Tuskegee Airmen do not get, exposure enough in young, elementary schools. So we've gone into 3rd grade classrooms all the way up to college, classrooms. And we wrote it as an all ages book.
Yeah.
So we didn't dumb anything down. It's just like G.I. Joe used to be. So you can approach it at any age. As long as you can read, you can enjoy it. So
where
it's a really cool
people
book.
Find it? Because it sounds great, by the way. Like I didn't know that was the premise. The art looks amazing, right?
Thank you.
I'm looking at these covers. The art looks amazing, and the fact that you're saying this premise on top of it,
right?
Like that excites me too. Where can people find Tuskegee Heirs?
Yeah, Tuskegee Heirs is just put a .com behind it, and that's HEIRS for heirs. Tuskegee Heirs.com is our website, and we sell the books online. So again, we self-publish, and we've been doing that. That's been a roller coaster of wonderfulness, man. We did a Kickstarter way back in the day. We were asked for $10,000, and we ended up getting like 72,000 for the graphic novel and stuff like that. So we've been self-publishing since then. So it's pretty amazing. And that a goal is we need that animated, and absolutely now.
Yeah.
So if
figures. I'm just throwing out action figures. Like,
I call it the Star Wars deal. I want the Star Wars deal for that too.
Yeah.
Which is underwear, socks, backpacks, cereal.
Yeah.
Animation, video games, everything, man. Anything that can be printed on needs that. But it's literally a family brand. It's like your parents, your kids can all sit in front of it and watch it. It's not supposed to be for one audience. We wanted something that we would be entertained by in our current day and age, but it was like a love letter to who we were as kids too. So that's where we're writing it from that standpoint. And it's still yet to be animated, but we're getting something cool. We're actually making a Fortnite game right now. So in the next couple of days, we're gonna start pushing that. Me and Greg, we're gonna be like streaming live as we play the Fortnite game that we're making, and it's just the beginning. We're gonna have some cool stuff added on to that, and it's it's marketing
Yeah.
and promotion. It's there's things I want to do with the game that I have to scale my creativity down. I'm like, dude, I want to do all this. He's like, no, 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 no. You got this. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll start small
Yeah.
and we'll build up. But we need to, push it. And that's just another way kids are playing Fortnite, adults are playing Fortnite
Yeah.
religiously, but it's a great way to market the brand. So
Yeah.
why not?
Tuskegee Heirs and Popeye, the crossover, like what I'm about to ask, basically,
Yeah.
do you feel like because you're so creative that you do you thrive under constraints, or does it impede you?
Well, yeah. Well, necessity is the mother of all creation. So, saying that I only have this much memory. This is a real conversation, by the way. We had a meeting with the guy.
Yeah.
Wiz is our game developer right now. He's like, yeah, you see, there's like a memory bar that we can see at the top of the screen. He's like, you see how much memory we have left? That's all you have. I'm like, okay, okay,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So what we can do is don't add anything else in the game. Let's just do this, and yeah. So that's where creativity is supposed to thrive, which is think about the games we grew up with, man. Mario was nothing. There was no amazing graphics.
Yeah.
But it was still a challenge. It was a platformer. And people mastered the crap out of that game.
Yeah.
Right. Found hidden areas and did this really ridiculous stuff throughout those games that was like, how in the crap did you do that? And it's simple design, but the restrictions doesn't restrict creativity if you actually know how to get around those little things. So no, I'm a child of that school of logic, which is okay. That doesn't mean we can't do something cool with that.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what we can say. What can the NPCs say? Let's give them missions.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
Right.
Also,
yeah, man.
The fact is that your Tuskegee Heirs you mentioned is all ages, and I Lie Popeye is also all ages, right? I didn't notice anything bad or mature.
I'm trying to keep that. There's red stuff.
Oh,
again, he has to lose his eye, but I don't want to do like a splatter of blood. No. He gets beat up pretty good. So I think me and my kids were talking about it. I'm like, maybe PG? Maybe PG?
Yeah. DBZ has,
There's fighting. There's fighting and you got to be careful. You give it to a 3-year-old and he's like, I saw Popeye where he punched the crap out of this dude. So punch to my sister. PG maybe. PG. But I'm trying to keep it, classy enough where it feels like the cartoon. I don't want to change that audience, but and I had fun saying, I was like, well, we didn't have those restrictions back in the day on animation. So if you brought it up to speed and that same, what do they call it? Not restriction. What is it? Where they're trying to say, here's the audience range, right? And they're trying to map that
demographic rating.
Rating. Thank you. And it would probably be in the Y7/PG fighting.
Oh yeah, of course.
Some fighting, some violence. You can't.
It's a Saturday morning cartoon.
You can't get away with just. It's not PBS. It's not going to be G.
Yeah.
All right. People get hurt.
Right.
People's gonna get.
Yeah.
Bluto gets slammed. Bluto gets slammed into a truck. So
I loved it. I loved it. It was really good. I'm personally I'm gonna August 14th. I'm gonna pick up issue 1, so I can have a physical copy. And I'm also very excited for what I assume is a compilation hardcover of some sort, so I can have it on the bookshelf.
Graphic novel.
I need it all.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited for what's to come. Before we get going, do you have any final things that you didn't get off your chest when it comes to I Lie Popeye?
Definitely. Once it comes out, I think you can actually go to some of these links where I don't know them right now off the top of my head, but definitely support your comic shops, guys. Go out and ask for it, pre-order it. Local comic shops, definitely go out. If you have one in your town, definitely go check them out. I'm always in support of retailers. A lot of people don't understand that comic shops exist. You know, they don't bring parents. Go take your kids to a comic shop to get this if you can. The goal is to keep the book on the shelves. And if the retailers see that families are coming in to buy it, they're going to keep ordering it, which is the goal, which is we want to keep it on the shelves. We want to keep those numbers high.
Yeah.
Ordering it online is fine too, but I mean, just, remember retailers exist. If you have some, Google it, check and see if you got a comic shop in your local area. Here in Atlanta, we got a good handful, so we're lucky.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm Marcus the Visual on social media. I don't know if I said that. You can follow my work. I do random stuff all the time, but yeah, in this lead up to the comic coming out, you will see some cool stuff that is nowhere in terms of Popeye. I haven't published it. They're going to be sketches. They're going to be, like I said, world building. But yeah, follow my work. I'm on most of those things. Don't follow me on TikTok yet because I don't really have any content there.
Okay.
But
fair.
yeah, all of the stuff that I do, I try to make it where it's approachable. So yeah, follow me on there. If you have questions, comments, definitely, get me back on this guy's show so we can keep this going.
Yeah.
You heard him. He says we're flying to some exotic island.
We're doing an
next
exotic
time. It's
island
fun.
interview.
So, but yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate having you on here. Like, your work speaks for itself. Even before I Lie Popeye, and then reading I Lie Popeye, knowing that you're not only illustrating, you're writing it.
Yeah.
It was great. I'm going to be recommending this book.
Thank you.
And I don't say that to, I don't say that about everything. Some books aren't for me.
Right.
If they're not for me, then I'm like, okay, they might be for you, sure, but
yeah,
this one was for me.
Nice.
And
nice.
so
thank you.
I'm excited to spread the word when it comes to that. Thank you, Marcus, so much for coming on the show, gracing me with your presence, talking about I Lie Popeye, talking about Tuskegee Heirs, talking about what's to come. So I really appreciate it. If anyone out there is watching and or listening, you're watching us live on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Shout out to Canadian Survivalist on YouTube. Shout out to Pyro Ouroboros and Mrs. Poop Potato on the usernames.
That's
are
a word
so funny to read out.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. But shout out to everybody out there for watching. Comicshoplocator.com, massivepublishing.com.
Yes.
Tuskegee,
shout out to Massive. Yeah.
TuskegeeHeirs.com, Massive Publishing. Yes, shout out to Massive for publishing I Lie Popeye and helping bring this book to life. But if anyone's out there and want to know where to find the Keeg, you can find us at The Keeg Show on all social media. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on all that. TikTok and Instagram, two biggest ones. At The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show, Facebook, Threads, Twitter, all that. We're on all social media. This is the Keeg Chats, where I talk to cool, awesome professionals like Marcus here. So definitely stay tuned for this show and for the many other shows that we do. Find us on social media. You can find the multiple shows a week that we do here on the Keeg. But that's pretty much it. I can't stress it enough. Thank you, Marcus. I'm supporting you all the way. Awesome. I know that everybody else out there who's watching and or listening. Oh, if you're listening to us, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Audible, I think, Amazon Music, SoundCloud.
Yeah, I gotta follow. I followed the Twitch. I gotta find you on the podcast. I'm getting better with my podcast stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll find you guys on there.
Look,
so
you're living the podcast. I wouldn't ask you to listen to the podcast, but
no, I got you now.
Everybody out there should be, following you and following me, and
nice.
We can all have a good time.
Well, they got to follow now if they weren't following before, man. Because next time, we got to talk about all the controversial stuff. Is flat Earth?
Yeah.
Is spinach? Better creamy or not?
I'm gonna have so many questions when issue number 2 comes out. You know?
Right. Well, that's when a lot of exposition drops on that one. So be ready for that.
All right, I am.
I'm working on that.
Thank you so much, Marcus. I really appreciate it. Once again, for everybody out there, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been the Keeg Chats with Marcus Williams. Take care, everybody. Bye.
super fast. Gotta beat the boss and get the loot, cause it's the king.